So this is the last week that I'm doing in a little series on the subject of truth and beauty. And all inspired by when I went down to the Institute and saw Werner Herzog speaking, which was amazing. And it's amazing here, you can go down to the local place and see Werner Herzog speaking. And he was speaking on the subject of ecstatic truth, which he thinks is a deeper and more profound truth than could be achieved by going beyond the mere presentation of facts. You know, the truth which is the presentation of facts, which Herzog calls accountant's truth, a factual accuracy, which is often superficial and doesn't necessarily lead to a deeper understanding. And I've been looking at the idea that if there's a relationship, possibly between, if you're creating ecstatic truth, maybe as we do that, maybe there's a relationship between truth and beauty that gives us a way of creating understanding rather than just as we always do, targeting concepts and trying to get ideas across. Perhaps we should be looking at how to create something that is beautiful to get across whatever understanding that we want to do. And last week I read a poem on the subject of the unitive nature of our existence, which is an incredibly complicated subject. And I spend week after week trying to get across and do forums and conferences about unitive consciousness. But perhaps if we created something beautiful, people could see that, in the experience of enlightenment that people sometimes have. People talk about the beauty of it, and there's a beauty in that truth. So we're looking at that relationship between beauty and truth, rather than just communicating it through rational ideas. Can we reveal truth through beauty? And last week we looked at becoming architects of truth and beauty, actually creating beauty in order to communicate truth, and the interrelation between those things. The fact is that even when we have conversations about this, the conversation that goes backwards and forwards, there's a beauty in those conversations that moves us on and reveals that truth. And it's interesting that, we had that reading that Diane read from the Bible, from the Song of Songs. And, it's basically love poetry. And you think, how come there is a whole section of love poetry in the Bible? And the reason is that the Song of Songs is actually an example of ecstatic truth. It is a truth that reveals a deeper truth. And although on the surface of it, it talks about my beloved, it says, let him lead me to the banqueting hall, and let his banner over me be love. Listen, my beloved, look, here he comes, leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. I mean, it's proper love poetry. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through our windows. And the Song of Songs is actually an allegory for our relationship with God, and that's why it's in the Bible. My beloved is God, or we are the beloved, and the other is God. So the whole thing is a description of our relationship with the divine using the love that we understand, the arrival of God in life. The fig tree forms its early fruit. The blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. It is ecstatic truth, describing the relationship with God. And, I think, the whole Bible is ecstatic truth. Genesis is an attempt to give us an understanding of the nature of reality through telling a story. And the problem always comes, here we're getting to think, the problem comes when we take what is actually ecstatic truth and we make it be accountant's truth. And we say, these are the actual things that are being said. No, the Bible it's a poem. All of it is a poem to give us an understanding, give us an idea of what our relationship with God is. I always see the Bible as it's a lens through which we can view life. It is not a description, it's not a map. It is a lens through which we view life. So again, that's an example of, the Bible is an example of ecstatic truth. And I brought my icon in today because, again, this is another example of ecstatic truth. It is a depiction of Christ among the heavenly bodies. That's what it actually is. And the idea with icons is when you look at them, you get a sense of the greater reality that exists in life. And here, there are three clear things that enable you to see the ecstatic truth that is here. The red represents earthliness, our bodies. You see, it's all very much a body thing, all the red that's there. And the black represents our unconscious, all the unconscious thoughts, the feelings, all the things that exist within us that are of not understanding. And the gold represents the divine coming into life. So you can see, what's attempted in this icon and in other icons is the idea of enabling us to see the possibilities that exist there. It is another example of ecstatic truth where by the beauty of it and by the way it's represented, it reveals something that's greater than that. So let's put this back. And I put on on your service sheet that's the icon that's there. So you can see that the dark, the light, the gold, and the whole thing is shot through with that nature. But on the other side, you can see the Caravaggio's painting of the revelation on the road to Emmaus. And there, as you've got community, it's particularly appropriate. There is Christ in the middle and the man with his arms outstretched. All of this religious art is ecstatic truth. It's trying to convey something that is not readily conveyable. Here is, the risen Christ, revealing himself to the disciples in the breaking of the bread and in the way that it works out. So there are some examples of that. And I did ask last week if anybody would like to bring in any, because I wrote a poem last week, which actually, if you want to actually hear that poem or see any of the other, hear any of the other aspects of this, the red card on the seats in front of you will show you how to get the podcasts and see it on YouTube. And if you want to be on a mailing list, that's the blue card. But has anyone brought anything? I said, look, I read this poem and said, would anyone like to do something as an example for showing truth and beauty? And what we were trying to do was to have a look at what truth is revealed in the beauty. So I just wondered if anyone did bring something in. Thank you. Yes, Lorna, I'm going to give you this because Lorna sent this to me. And I've actually printed it out. So this is what Lorna brought in. And do you want to just describe what it is, Lorna?
It's my dad's hands.
Yes.
And he was a healer and integrity. I mean, every time I think of something beautiful, I think of his hands. It was like he was so strong, he had integrity, he had love, he had healing and beauty and truth. And I just, they just make me smile, and I just feel they're beautiful. And anybody who knew him knows those hands.
And what was your dad's name?
Taga Peterson.
Taga Peterson.
Yeah.
Sorry? And you can see there's not just a pair of hands, there's something revealed in the beauty of those hands.
Yeah. There's a story. I mean, there's so much. To me, there's just so much in them.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that in. That's great. Anybody else? Yes. I'm just going to give you this. Greg Anderson is back in the house, everybody. And this is Greg. And Greg is going to be doing the services in the next 3 weeks. And
with other people.
You've got Lachlan.
Lachlan Farrell from Harvard.
From Harvard. And then you're doing this the second week.
Pagels.
Elaine Pagels in the last week. So lots of people. Anyway, what were you going to say?
I can't help but those hands helped me a great deal many, many years ago when I had a lot of back problems. and Lauren, I think I might have mentioned this to you, but I would go to a lot of physicians, and the one person who really helped me with my back was a physical therapist, Taga Pedersen. And so when she brought that up, I had to mention that helped me a great deal. I don't have back problems anymore, but he helped me many years ago, so I appreciate those hands.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's great. Yes, please, Sean.
I'm just curious, how many people in this room also know Taga? Oh, wow. Thank you all for that. That is...
Isn't that amazing? Just a pair of hands means something to so many people there. There's something that's there. Thank you, Sean. I so appreciate that. Yes, anybody else got something they'd like to show at all? Yes, Nick.
So I mentioned last week that I had a poem to read, but I pulled it out of the dustbin. I realized it's way too long, and everyone would probably want to kick me out if I read the whole thing. So I will. We were talking about unity.
Yeah.
And this is the first paragraph of this. I guess it's a poem. Floating, I am one with all that surrounds me. In fact, there is no I, just we, us, together, one. Drifting in all directions, touching, becoming, transforming constantly. True thoughtlessness exists, the size of everything too vast to understand, and too comfortable to try to. Other elements not a part, yet a function of our whole, move through us, and as quickly as we are parted, we reunite. Ebbing and flowing, drifting up and down, affected by outside forces we can never understand, and have no desire to try to, yet that we feel every day. From the depths of blackness to the twinkling of light, from a frigid, endless cold to a near boiling burst from the unknown. And yet it is all the same. We drift and are carried amongst ourselves, friends united, never knowing separation, a telepathic consciousness of being.
Bit of round of applause, I think, there. Thank you. And thank you so much for bringing that in. And you know, just take courage to read something that you've written like that. But what it does show me is, you know, in creating beauty like that, I mean, just imagine if we focused our lives on creating beauty in everything that we did. Everything that we did is a creation of beauty. And the very creation of beauty says something to those people who are around us as we do that. So thank you, Nick. I really appreciate that. Anybody else like to do? Yes, Mona Ray. Yes, you've got something. Shall I hold this up so you can do it? There we are, Mona Ray. And you did this, Mona Ray, did you?
Yes, I did it. As soon as I got home last week.
Last week?
I just decided to put color on the paper, and who showed up were some little dolphins and a little baby shark.
There we are. We shouldn't be afraid of sharks. I did read last week that more people are killed by cows every year than killed by sharks. So I think that's. But yeah, do you want to talk about what was actually coming from this?
In the fluid system, you know, we come from the fluid system, and color is fluid for me.
Yes.
And I love putting color on the paper, and the little things that showed up were fun.
Well, thank you for that. And this came out of last week. This is newly painted rather than something you just produced earlier. So thank you very much for that, Mona Ray. That's great. A little round of applause for Mona Ray for willing to do that. Anybody else brought anything in at all? Yes, there we are. Fantastic. Louisa, I so appreciate that. Have you got something that I need to show? Or?
No, I don't. I didn't bring anything in, but I'm using this moment to talk about a beautiful creation that brings us truth and beauty every Sunday. And I just want to recognize Nicholas, because a week from today is his birthday.
Oh,
and he won't be here, so I wanted to wish him a happy birthday from all of us.
Thank you very much.
Truth and beauty.
That's very kind. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Anybody else brought anything in? Or now, you've got, oh, great, fantastic. Rob.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And what an amazing day here with no clouds in the sky. And anyways, I've just been reading the difference between creation and consuming. And there's two different individuals that do that. And creating is so far above consuming. And it made me think, are you a creator or a consumer?
Yes.
Anyways, I don't need to expound on that, but I think creation, just Mona Ray making that, and Taga's hands, those are beautiful things in this earth.
Yes.
And consuming's going to City Market.
Yes. And I do think that whole thing that everything we do, we can be creating. Even the way we hold ourselves, the way we walk along, the way we treat somebody else, the way we have our room look. Everything is a function of beauty and affects everybody around us. And I think there's something is revealed through that. So,
it's true, though, too. If you smile at somebody,
yes,
it creates a whole aura
yes,
with the two of you instead of looking down.
that's right. That's right. That's fantastic. Okay, and also we always have a little conversation where I don't know if anybody has anything they'd like to say at all, or yes, there we are. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, Stacey.
So I just wanted to share an experience that I had Friday night at Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
My husband and I went, and it was just such a beautiful night. It was a little sprinkly, but I could tell I had this feeling of energy in the whole crowd. Like it went from, almost became like a spiritual experience. And as the music played, what I really realized is there was this connection through love and energy,
Yes.
as opposed to connection through fear and anger. And I really realized it's a minute-to-minute choice that we make. Are we connecting through love and art and beauty? Or do we sort of take the lower road and connect through fear and anger?
Yes.
And so I don't know. I just wanted to share that.
No, I love that. And it's interesting that in the idea of creation, whatever you bring, what you bring can always create beauty. You can always perceive beauty in any circumstance. In another life, I used to do these little seminars and conferences. And we're not going to do this now, but one of the little processes we used to do is we used to get people to sit opposite each other like this and just stare into their face. And as you stared into their face, you just recognized how beautiful that person was that was opposite you. And we used to do this for like 20 minutes. And you could literally fall in love with someone just by recognizing that little scar there, the little line there, the shape of the nose, the wonderful eyebrow, and it went across it. And it's just so beautiful. And, in you going to the concert, you saw the beauty in people coming together. And we do owe it to ourselves to show up and actually, recognize the beauty that's around us. And in recognize the beauty that you recognize there, we then recognize the truth of the family nature of the gathering. It doesn't have to be about fear and things like that, which is lovely. Yes, Sean.
That staring into somebody else's face, I've done a lot of mirror work.
Yes.
Stare into the mirror and fall in love with yourself.
Yes, no, that's fantastic. Yes. Have to be careful with Narcissus there. But there is, I do understand what you're talking about, because often, often we look in the mirror and we're always thinking, I'd like to be different. But actually, to fall in love with who you are is just an amazing thing. Good. Anybody else like to say anything at all? Yes, there we are. Fantastic. Yeah.
Well, I also knew Taga through his other daughter, Karin. I believe she has a new name. I haven't seen her for 30 years. But we used to dance together. I also used to dance here with Willie. We did environmental dance and did a lot of performing here. So that's what I'm bringing today, is just a moment of dance.
Yeah.
And it'll be an improv.
A moment of dance.
And it's just as right here.
Yes, so we can all witness this moment of dance. Here we are. Thank you. Again, just through those moments, creating the beauty of that. And there is a truth revealed in that, the truth of the courage to do it, the truth of the openness, the willingness to be seen. It creates a totally different atmosphere. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else like to? Yes, there we are. Wade.
Thank you. There's so much beauty in music. And about the time that Joni Mitchell put out her Blue album, which I was convinced there would never be another album that could match that, pretty much stellar. She commented live in one of her performances. She was asked about what she thought the greatest songs were. And really her only comment was, and I'm reminded of your early comments, well, they're all love songs, of course. So it's not just, from someone who's such a talented musical icon, commenting that, she was not focused on facts. She was focused on love and the expression through her, unbelievable musical talents of love. And so going back to so much truth being expressed in that and how beautiful that is, once again, the arts are such a wonderful means of expressing beauty, but as you've articulated nicely, truth.
Yeah, I think that's really worth saying, because the definition of love we use here is love is giving with no expectation of a return. And in creating something of an artwork, in a sense, you are giving with no expectation of return. You're just putting that paint down, where you're making those songs, you're creating love through the givingness that comes there. There's a purity about that. So thank you so much for mentioning that. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, Mona Ray.
Going along with being seen, then being touched. If you touch very lightly, so you just begin to experience the other person through touch.
Yes, that's lovely. Thank you. Well, let's hear some beauty and hear some truth as well. Andrew and Heather are going to play.